Hey there, it's Evelyn Erives. So excited for another episode of Covering Your Health with Evelyn Erives. So glad you're here. I feel like you're going to love today's episode. If you felt like the summer was electric because of the Olympic Games, this is definitely the episode for you. In the coming days, the spirit of Team USA will continue to thrive overseas in the 2024 Paralympic Games, which highlights incredibly talented para-athletes, like the man I am going to be speaking with today. Owen Daniels of Fontana, my hometown, is a para-cyclist who's training to become a part of Team USA during the 2028 Games right here in Los Angeles. Owen, who is an IEHP member, has reached the podium in several para races across the globe, including the 2022 World Cup in Belgium, and is a 5-time Los Angeles Marathon winner in the hand cycle category. Just incredible. We are so delighted to introduce Owen to our Covering Your Health family and shine a spotlight on the incredible athleticism that we're going to see during the Paralympic Games, August 28th through September 8th.
Welcome to Covering Your Health, a wellness podcast dedicated to covering all areas of living a healthy and happy lifestyle. From healthy hearts to understanding health plans and everything in between, each episode will provide you with a better understanding of managing your health, preventative care, and staying on the right path for your family's wellness journey. The Covering Your Health podcast is presented by IEHP. Now, your host, Evelyn Erives.
Welcome, Owen.
Thank you for having me, Evelyn. How you doing?
I am so good. I'm so glad you're here. From the IE, right?
Yes, I'm born in the IE, actually born in Fontana at Kaiser,
Hey.
which is not far,
Yeah.
and lived in the Inland Empire my whole life.
I grew up in Fontana.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love Fontana. And I'm there all the time now, too, because I have all my friends and family still all out there. So I love it. Okay, so we're going to start because everyone needs to know about your story, about how you overcame huge obstacles. And if you don't mind sharing a little bit about that and just being really candid with us, please tell our listeners all about yourself.
Yeah, no problem. So my name is Owen Daniels. Like you said, I am a native here to the Inland Empire. And in 2010, I was a business owner. Mm-hmm. Actually, I was 24 at the time.
Oh, wow.
And had owned a plumbing construction business. And I was just working really hard. And I happened to be in between jobs and had been working like 10, 12-hour days,
Mm-hmm.
6 days a week. So kind of went out for a night on the town, had a little break. Was in a car accident, and it was actually on the 10 freeway, which is local to us.
Yeah.
And I had lost control of my vehicle and flipped my truck after hitting a tree, and I was ejected about 35, 40 feet.
Wow.
And I believe my spine upon impact on the ground just shattered my T10 vertebrae. And just think of it like it burst. They called it a burst fracture. So it all the bone fragments shot into my spine.
Oh my gosh.
Which caused me to be a T10 paraplegic.
Oh, wow.
So that ever since 2010, I have been paralyzed from the waist down. And luckily for me, I was shortly after introduced to Team Possibilities, which is a nonprofit organization at Loma Linda University Medical Center East Campus. Team Possibilities is, like I said, a nonprofit organization that caters to people with disabilities to kind of get them like reintegrated into community, give them a sense of, like brotherhood and family. We have sports, support groups, dinners, luncheons, like everything, just to kind of bring the disabled community together as a whole. So if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I would be. They're the ones that introduced me to sport, introduced me to peer visiting, motivational speaking, and they're the ones that gave me the direction that I needed and basically the purpose that I needed to be able to rehabilitate and like
Yeah.
rehabilitate back into society as
Yeah.
a normal person instead of just being, like a disabled person or
Right.
crippled.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, or that, and that's probably how you felt initially, right?
Yeah, totally. So when you're first hurt, when I go see a lot of these patients, because I still do peer visiting for people who are recently injured, and I try to let them know, like, it's okay to be down, depressed, go through these emotions of being lost, and basically you think your life is over.
Right.
It's the typical story for anyone who goes through a life-changing accident or something that leaves you with a disability like mine.
Right.
So it's really key to like have that support, so you can kind of like get past the bad and move on to the good.
And finding the good and
Yes.
re-finding the good.
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
Of course. So that's fascinating to me. Team Possibilities is what it's called.
Yeah, it's teampossibilities.org if you ever want to check it out.
Yeah.
My story is also on there. I'm also sponsored by them. So they've been sponsoring me since 2012.
Wow.
They're actually the ones that started, it's called a Paralympic sport program.
Oh,
And
okay.
they just came to me and asked me if, hey, do you want to be in the program? And at that time, I wasn't working. I was, didn't have a ton to do. I was still trying to be active. I was doing triathlons and stuff like that, but it wasn't.
But on your own, you were doing
Yes,
that. That's
yeah,
great.
it wasn't very serious, like full-on training and
right,
stuff.
right.
And they came to
More
me.
like how I do it.
Yeah, more like how
I pretend to run on the streets.
Totally.
And
that was me. Like, yeah, you see
and
me
I
out
don't
riding
eat
a bike.
properly, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I was right there too. Like, I didn't need to eat properly back then.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really didn't.
Yeah.
I was 25, 26.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're
I could
young.
eat whatever.
Man,
So,
I missed that time.
Yes, me too. Me too, now that I'm 41.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're the ones who got me, like refocused, and then they presented me with the opportunity to be a part of the Paralympic program.
Yeah.
I said, sure, why not? I had nothing else to do. And from there, it was got me the equipment, which is not cheap, coaches, paid for all my travel, all my
Wow.
racing, everything. Yeah, it's quite expensive sport, cycling.
Yeah.
I mean, my bike alone that I ride right now is, if you buy them brand new, you're looking at like $20,000.
Oh my gosh. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, so it's not cheap. So
Wow,
having
okay.
a sponsor like Team Possibilities is
Everything.
it's everything.
It's everything.
It's very key to what I want to do.
And so they probably looked at you too, like you're a young guy, like you're athletic, maybe you weren't professionally athletic at that point, but still they're looking at you and they're like, this is somebody that we need to back. This is somebody that could absolutely be a Paralympian, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you see that in yourself at all?
Yes.
Okay.
So
That's good. That's amazing.
I mean, I've had it. I guess you could say it's a blessing and a curse since I was a kid. Everything I do, like, I want to be great.
You want to win.
I want to win.
Yeah.
I want to be
Yeah.
better than the norm.
Yeah.
I don't want to be mediocre.
Yeah, I like
No
that.
matter what I do. I don't know what it is. It could be something small. If I grab a hold of something, I want more knowledge. I want to be better at it. I want to hone my craft and be good at it.
Yeah.
So I did think I could do this. And my goal from the beginning was I want to be one of the best in the world. Unfortunately, for me, I was naive to how hard it is to be one of the best in the world. There's 7 billion people in the world.
Of course.
And you're trying to be one of the best at something.
Yeah.
And turns out it's very hard.
Yeah, I imagine. I
Yes.
mean, where we were just watching the Olympics, and I'm just like, they make it look so easy. You really look at it and you're like, I mean, I feel like if at that age I could have, and then you're going, yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that easy.
No, it's
that's the
not.
key. They look like it's easy because for them, it's not as challenging as it would be for you. Like for me, to get out and try to run or do hurdles or whatever.
Yeah, and it's, I think it was one of the Olympians in the track and field that had just said this. She does the 100-meter.
Yeah.
And I think her name is Charisse or Richardson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richardson. Okay,
Yeah,
I know who you're
Richardson.
talking about.
So, and she said about, sports and stuff, like when you see it, like you see her running for 10 seconds, and yes, it like looks easy and you're like, she's running for 10 seconds, but she trained her whole life for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So it should look easy,
Yeah, right.
but it is incredibly difficult.
Oh, yeah.
So like me, I've been training for 13 years for, short races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you don't see all of that. You just see the racing and the ups and downs of racing, but it is a lot of work that people don't see.
I bet. So what made you want to become such a strong advocate for Team Possibilities? When they first introduced this to you, and you said at Loma Linda?
Yes.
So when they introduced this to you, you got involved with the program, and then what was it that was that spark that made you go, I'm going to be a big advocate for this program?
So I had a friend that I knew since I was a kid. And about 3 months before I was injured, I had seen him out, and he was in a wheelchair. And he wasn't in a wheelchair before. And he looked very happy. He was independent. Like, you could see it. And
Thriving. He was
yes,
thriving.
and then when I wasn't in a chair, it's a typical thing for people without disabilities to look at someone with a disability and be like, man, like, how do you do this? Like, you kind of feel sorry for them. But you couldn't feel sorry for him. He, like you said, he was thriving.
Yeah.
Well, when I got hurt, he was the first person I called. And he was the one who introduced me to Team Possibilities. And he kind of, like, led the way for me as far as, like, a mentor of, like, how to live with a disability, how to be independent. And he was pretty active in Team Possibilities.
Oh, awesome.
So I just kind of followed, and then it was really something that I gravitated to because of, like, what it was doing for me personally for rehabilitation. Like, I felt good, like, getting out, being around others in a chair, because at first you are very timid about going out in public and what you can do, what you can't do, what you're going to feel out in public and stuff like that. So that's why I got so active and basically pursued being a part of Team Possibilities so much. It just kind of, like, drew me in as far as, like, my rehabilitation, and also once I reached that point of, like, where I felt I was, in a good place, I wanted to, like, pass it forward.
on.
Yeah.
Pay it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay it forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. And it is true. It's when you, I feel like it's what's similar to your story is anyone that really does fall into, like, a little bit of a depression, getting back out in the world is hard. It's getting back out and telling yourself, hey, you can do this. You can be this. You're okay. You're going to be able to, you're just like everyone else.
Yes.
So
definitely.
That's beautiful. And it's so great that you're paying it forward that way. So let's talk about your $20,000 chair cycle. What is it?
It's a hand cycle.
A hand cycle.
Yeah.
What is hand cycling? Explain that to somebody who maybe has never seen it before.
So hand cycling is, hand cycles are for, like, paraplegics or even people possibly missing limbs, like lower limbs.
Okay.
And it's how we get out and basically ride bicycles. You can ride them recreationally or, like I do, professionally. They are laid down, so I'm fully laid down. I'm probably only about a foot off the ground.
Oh my gosh.
It has 3 wheels, 2 in the back, 1 in the front, and basically works the same way as a regular bicycle or like a road bike.
Okay.
It has gearing, and I have, let's see, I think I only have 11 gears right now. I ride a different type of setup, but it's basically the same setup as regular cyclist, and I have wireless shifting. That's not cheap. The whole bike is carbon fiber, which that's why it gets so expensive.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber wheels, the top of the line of all the equipment on the bike, there's no expense spared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, and the act of it, so you're laying fully down. So I'm thinking of like when I ride a bike, I have to like see everything. How are you seeing? How are you maneuvering?
Yeah.
That sounds scary
It
to
is.
me.
It is. So I get that all the time.
Yeah, like how do you
Yeah,
see?
yeah. When I'm training and like I'll have cars honking at me, and I have a.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine that
I put
training on the road.
You have to.
Right? Yeah.
I put a flag on, and I have a rear view mirror, and then I'll also have like a light on the bike flashing.
Okay.
So I do my best to be seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I'm out there, people will. I can't see you, and I know they can see me, but I think they're just a little like agitated,
Yeah.
Like drivers seem to get a little agitated with cyclists, like where we have this back and forth thing where like
I think that's with any cyclist, for the record.
yeah,
in
it's like
general.
cyclists.
Yeah.
We're like
Share the road,
like
but
cats
also...
and dogs.
Yeah.
Like they think the road is theirs, and we know the road isn't ours, but like we kind of want our respect on the road of like, hey, give us a little room, and we'll stay off your cell phones, and you're gonna keep everybody safe.
Oh my God, right.
And upright. So
yeah,
but I do train outside, and it is hard to see. Back to your question, like it is because we have like our fork and basically our pedals in front of us, so our vision is impaired, but you kind of get used to it. Like some people sit high enough to see over,
like to look
fork.
up a little bit. Okay.
I don't.
Oh.
I sit a little lower, so I'm basically like looking through small areas of
my gosh,
the
that
fork
sounds
and the
terrifying.
pedals, and I'm off to the side. It is and it's not. Like I've never had any issues.
Yeah.
I never have. Like knock on wood, I've never really crashed in a race.
Yeah.
We're pretty good. Everyone's pretty good at seeing and knowing what's around them and being aware. So it is hard to see. It's definitely much harder to see than a regular bike.
Yeah.
But you get used to it, and you really hone your senses of like what's around you, how to see stuff in front of you. And
yeah.
it is difficult though. Yes.
Oh my gosh, it sounds scary to me, like straight up. I'm like,
it could be.
Yeah, I think I've watched it in the Paralympics before, but so you're maneuvering with your hands, right?
Yes,
so it's all upper body strength that you're just having to use your arms.
Yeah.
And so what's training for that like with your arms, like your arm strength? Like what do you do to train your arms to just constantly?
So
do you do like weight training as well? And
I'm into weight training now.
Okay.
To tell you the truth, I was really big into the gym before I was in a chair. Mm-hmm. Really big. I was a gym rat.
Yeah.
That's all I did. It was work hard, go to the gym.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So I kept that up for years after my injury. When I met my wife and we moved in, like I kind of like, family takes precedence and stuff like that. So I kind of like, there was some distance that grew between me and the gym, which isn't a bad thing. Like for cycling, like you really should focus on cycling and training and cycling.
Like endurance, things
yeah,
like
some
that.
coaches want you to weight train, some don't. It just depends. Yeah,
Okay.
So I was really focused on training on the bike. I have so a little bit of a background. For years, I was kind of just training, but training just enough to be like good.
Yeah.
It wasn't like full on like being serious 100%.
Be the best.
Yes, like it was. I wanted to be really good, but I was still young and still wanted to go out and have fun and stuff. And then when I met my wife, she put a lot of like what's the word I'm looking like structure.
Oh, okay.
Structure in my life.
Yeah.
For sure, which was great for my cycling. It's early bedtime, wake up early. Everything's very focused.
Yeah.
Which is perfect, because it's when I'm in charge, like
It's
I may stay up late,
wild.
sleep late, it's wild. But with my wife there, like she put structure into my life. So
that's cool.
About 2019, like just before COVID, like I really started taking training seriously, and my like level of fitness and my ability to compete at a high level like really increased.
Oh, wow.
Like exponentially.
Yeah.
So
and there was nobody on the road.
Yes.
During COVID.
No.
So you could train.
The best thing about COVID was traveling.
I bet.
We would travel overseas. Like we went to Belgium and the plane would be empty.
Oh my God.
So you could get a seat and coach.
Yeah.
But you would have the whole row.
Yeah.
So you could lay out, you could do whatever. They would bring you whatever. It was the best.
There's a silver lining to everything.
Oh, it was the best. COVID was the best for traveling. It was the best. But yeah, now that I've kind of reached a level to where it's all about small gains. Like every year is very small gains. Like you have to make sure you're eating right and training right. And, you know, it's not these big jumps in fitness now. Now you're fighting for small stuff.
A little bit at a time. Yeah.
So now I have put myself back into the gym, and weightlifting is a very big focus for me right now. So I'm really trying to focus on weight training and also riding, but I want to bring my power up some. I just want to keep pushing the level of how far I can get. And I think with some really focused weight training and trying to get stronger and implement it to the bike, I think it will pay off.
So what was the first thing that was the hardest thing for you with hand cycling? What was the first, like getting them, like maneuvering, steering, like what was the hardest part to overcome for you? Or was it just also natural?
No, definitely not natural. Like before, I did BMX when I was a kid, but you don't got to do endurance, anything. We just made jumps and jumped them and acted crazy. Like there was no training, there was no like having to ride far, none of that stuff. So I would say the biggest thing to adjust to in the beginning was the training, like the long hours and the reality of like, this is not something where I just got to step into it like I did when I was young, or when I would pick something and be good and right away.
Naturally good at it.
Yes, like because I'm naturally athletic. I'm naturally good at anything I pick. Yeah. And if I pick it and I'm not good at it, I put that on the
Never mind,
shelf.
that's
not for me. So when it had to be the long hours on the bike, the training 6 days a week, and just how focused you have to be, it's so hard because it's about consistency. You know, you have to train with consistency, and it has to be a long time of consistency. It can't just be a week. It is years, you know, and I tell people who want to get into endurance sports of any kind, and it's not just cycling or any sport. If you really want to be the best at your sport, this is not I'm going to come in and dominate early. This is like, you need to think of it as like a 5, 10, 15-year plan. This is why so many people start sports when they're young.
Yep, you're right. I'm off topic, I'm training right now for a half marathon. I'm only doing
nice.
I'm doing the Run Disney half marathon.
Yeah.
I have not done one in 8 years. Okay. So I used to do a lot all the time. My husband and I got a little obsessed with getting medals. We don't win, okay? We're not going to win. No, we're just going to finish, okay?
But you're winning.
But I'm winning by finishing.
If you finish, you're winning, 100%.
And so I'm signed up. It's like a few weeks from now, and I have the hardest part for me this summer has been the consistency.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, just staying focused and being able to get up early in the morning, knowing what my day looks like, and still trying to fit in running or even just walking for a long amount of time has been so hard for me. So I really feel like that is the thing. That's the key.
Yeah. And I can only imagine for you, like a full-time job. You got the podcast and the radio show, and then wanting to do the half marathon. Like, it's a lot of work. It is a lot.
I just want to finish. If I could get through across that finish line, I don't care. The people that sweep people up behind, the ones that aren't going to make it, they can be right behind me. That's fine, but just let me finish.
That is fine. That is a huge accomplishment. Like, a half marathon is nothing to, like, joke about. Yeah. It is 13.1 miles. Yeah. It is a lot. Yeah. I mean, a full marathon is crazy.
Yeah, no, that's see, I said
for running, that's crazy. Yes. So a half marathon, 13 miles, like, if I wasn't in this chair, like, I would not be doing a half marathon.
I'm telling you. So what is your distance? What do you do with this? Obviously a lot further than a half marathon because it's cycling, right? So what is your I'm imagining there are different lengths of races.
There is, correct.
Okay, so what are you training for? Is there a specialty you have, or do you do multiple?
So yes, in hand cycling, we don't really have like specialties. Like we
Okay.
do have specialties, I guess, is what we're good at more than the other.
Okay.
But for hand cyclists, it's not like some of the other professional cycling where maybe they do track or they're a time trial specialist or a road race specialist. Like we kind of do all.
Okay.
So we have time trials, which
Okay.
is, of course, you against the clock. So you have a course. They're typically anywhere from 9 to about 12 and a half miles.
Okay.
That's our typical distance for a time trial.
Okay.
So about a 15 to 20K. So
Okay.
15 to 20 kilometers. Typically a pro time trial is around 20K to 40K.
Wow. Okay.
So we're not doing much less than them.
Yeah.
And sometimes around the same distances as them. And we are also doing road racing. So that's big pack racing. So in a time
other
trial,
people.
we start on a start ramp, and it's us basically by ourselves racing the course and the
and
fastest time.
everybody.
In a road race, it's all of us starting at the same time.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And those distances typically are anywhere from, in the U.S., we're typically doing a little shorter, maybe 30, 35 miles. Once we go over into Europe, that's when we're getting into, we do 35, 40, 45. And last year we did one in Belgium, and it was like 68 miles.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, that's like a 3-hour race. So
Wow.
they could get really long
That's
for sure. Yeah.
exhausting.
And my class is the biggest class in all of paracycling.
Oh.
Like we typically have around 60 riders, where I would say most classes have, I mean, some of the women's classes will have 10,
Oh wow.
12. I
Big
think,
difference.
yeah, like in all of women's paracycling, I think they have anywhere from like 80 to 90 total over all the classes.
Oh my
We have
gosh.
60 just in ours.
Yeah.
So it gets really sketchy in a road race in the beginning.
Wow. Wow. So you're a big advocate, obviously, for cycling, for the para athletes.
Yes.
What are some of those misconceptions that you feel people have maybe when pursuing a sport like yours? That it's easy.
No. Like, so,
That's the first misconception I would
yes,
say.
that's
Oh,
a
it's so
misconception.
easy.
I think the biggest misconception in parasports is how what we call the able-bodied community
Right.
looks at us.
Okay.
So some of them, I get the sense that they look at us competing like it's not as high level as like the Olympics.
Okay.
So it's definitely a misconception that like parasports or the Paralympics, the athletes there aren't as high level as the athletes in the Olympics.
Yeah,
Which
that's
is-
absolutely a misconception.
100%. It's not true. You have parasports, it's people like me paralyzed or missing a limb or, whatever their ailment is, but they're still training just as hard as the Olympians. We train just as much. It's just as competitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, there's less of us that are in parasports, so maybe we don't have as many competing, but at the top level, it is just as competitive as the regular Olympics.
I totally can see that. Yeah. So let's talk about the Paralympics. What can we expect? I mean, I know you're training for the LA Olympics,
So
right?
yes, I was training for Paris, and it's hard to be the best. And there was 3 of us going for the spot on the Paralympic team.
Yeah. How
And
many can make the Paralympic? Only 3?
No, it just depends. So
Okay.
how it works is as we compete through the years, we call them like quarters or quads.
Okay.
4 years for every Paralympics or Olympics.
Okay, that makes
You have
sense.
to earn spots. So countries have to earn spots. They're not
Mm.
just given to them. So you have to earn spots by placing throughout the 4 years, especially the year before the Paralympics is a really big year. But it all depends on how many people you have placing high, getting
Against
podiums
other- is this
against other
against
countries.
other countries?
Yes,
Okay, that's what I
exactly.
was wondering. Okay.
So if you place higher placings, podium, stuff like that, like you earn more slots.
Got it.
So it's all about earning slots. So you
Okay.
never know how big the team is going to be until just before the Olympics or Paralympics when
Got
they
it.
know how many spots they have for
Okay.
cycling, for swimming, for track and field. You have to earn spots. So you don't know how big the team is going to be.
So it could be different by
Yes.
the time we get to Los Angeles.
Yes, it could. It
Okay.
could be different. And maybe they give us a couple more slots because we are the hosting country.
Yeah.
Stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you never know. Like that happens for our World Cups.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have World Cups, like we had a World Cup in Alabama, we get a couple more spots because we're the hosting country.
Nice.
So I don't know exactly if that's how it works for the Paralympics or the Olympics, but it could be slightly bigger.
It would make sense, and I'll write
Yeah.
a letter if
Yeah.
we need to.
Ride them for sure. We could use a bigger team, but that's basically what happens. There's so many slots,
Yeah.
and how this worked for the build up to Paris is our selection events were our first World Cup, our second World Cup, our third World Cup, and then our qualifying event that was at Loma Linda.
Okay. Okay.
So it was a point-based system, and you had to place in the top 6 to get points towards the Paralympic team, and that was at the World Cups. And like I said, my class is
Huge.
huge.
Okay.
So placing top 6, it's tough. And I've done it plenty. I've won World Cups. I've podiumed in World Cups and things like that. But placing
amazing.
top 6 out of 60, it's the top 10%. Where you could maybe have some classes where they have 12 people and you got to place top 6. It's only top 50%. You could earn. So
that's
some
so hard. That's
some
so
people
rough.
have I wouldn't say an easier path.
Yeah.
But just slightly easier to scoring points. So I wasn't able to score any points in Europe. So I was really up against the fence once it came to the qualifying event.
Yeah.
I needed to place first or second out of all the men's classes.
Wow.
And it's hard to explain, but it's basically how they do it is they have time on how fast you should be moving per kilometer on the bike.
Okay.
And then they take how fast you are moving per kilometer, and they give you a percentage.
Okay.
So if you're right at how fast you should be moving, that's 100%. If you're below it, that'd be 96%.
Yes.
So you want to be below.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of stuff, just half of the battle is staying healthy into these races. Got back from Europe. Son got me sick.
Oh.
So I was sick for a while.
Yeah.
Training really took a dip. And I tried to do what I could do to salvage some fitness just before the race.
Yeah.
But I didn't come in with my best fitness. And it wasn't bad. It just wasn't.
What you knew you could be.
Yes. I wasn't my best self that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I wasn't upset because one of my good friends, who's also in my class, we are really tight, and he was able to make it. He did really well. He had his best race of the year, probably one of his best time trials ever.
Oh, wow.
And if I didn't make it, I was happy to see him make it.
He's going to go. So you have something really, really
I do,
nice
yeah.
to root for.
100%, yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. Are they already there? I imagine
Yes.
the guys are there already,
So
girls, everybody?
they're in Spain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they so this U.S. Paracycling headed to Spain first, I believe.
Okay.
For a training camp, and then they'll go over to Paris.
Nice.
And then probably take a little bit of time to decompress and recover from the training camp, and then they'll get into the games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so exciting.
Very exciting.
What's
yes.
your okay, I know you do hand cycling, but what's your favorite sport? That are you going to only watch hand cycling? Are you only
No.
Are you going to watch other
I'll
events?
watch I like the track and field, so I like to see
Yeah.
the wheelchair racing.
Yes.
That's super hard to do, and
Yeah.
the speeds that those guys move in
'Cause
wheelchairs.
it's completely different, right? So we're talking about cycle, now we're talking about upright.
Yeah, you're just talking we have gears, and we can apply some more power the way we're laying and stuff like that, to where these guys are above the wheels. It's just kind of the motion is different,
Yeah.
and they can't apply as much power. They don't have gearing, so when they're
Yeah.
climbing hills and stuff, it's a little more difficult and things like
Yes.
that. But they're incredibly fast. Like when I do the LA Marathon, because they let us do it on hand cycles, and it's more of a training race for me to kind of, it's very early in my season usually, so I just use it as like a gauge to see how I'm doing as far as training.
Yeah, okay.
But those guys in the racing wheelchairs are doing that course so fast.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, in a wheelchair, and they're finishing in, an hour and 30 minutes.
Wow.
Which is fast.
Yeah, that's fast.
17, 18 miles per hour average over hills, and they're incredible athletes. So I like the cycling. I'll watch some cycling, and I'll watch definitely wheelchair racing, some triathlon, stuff like that.
Yeah. There's going to be so many great things to look out for.
It's so hard to stay on top. There's so many sports.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, just trying to watch the Olympics just like a few weeks ago, I was
it's
like,
so hard.
How did I miss this and this?
I know.
I'm like, what? I was so grateful because there was like the app that you
highlights,
could go back.
yes.
Yeah, you could see the highlights,
yeah.
but you can also like go back and replay whatever
Yes.
you
100%.
missed and
Yes.
stuff like that. So I'm really excited to watch. I'm so excited for you because now this is like, so now we've got a new quad, right? That's what you
Yes.
said. So 4 more years for you to be training here.
Yes.
What is that? Okay, so what does each year look like for you now?
So 2025 is kind of like a reset year.
Okay.
That's why I've gone into strength training.
Okay.
It's like it's time to try something new and implement some ideas or different training that you may have
Okay.
to see if it could work.
Yeah.
If you get benefits from that. So 2025 is kind of like a reset year for me. It'll be a lot of weight training, and if I go to races, like, because I'm switching some stuff up and trying some new things, I'm not really looking for like the best results now. I'm looking for those small gains to see if those are happening.
Okay.
If those are happening, then I know I'm on the right track, and then that'll be what 2025 is for.
Yeah.
2026 will be a big year because it's going to be the first year since 2014 that we've had a world championships here for paracycling.
It's going to be here?
Not here, but in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
They're always in Europe, always. So it's going to be in Alabama. So 2026 is kind of like, I like to break everything up into small goals,
Yeah, of course.
That's my advice to people.
Yeah.
Like, have a big goal, but it's a lot of small goals that'll get you there.
Yeah.
So small goal is 2026 World Championships to podium at Worlds.
Okay.
In the time trial, that is like we were talking earlier, if I had a specialty, that's what it would be. Me against the clock, I'm very good at that. Like, I'm extremely good at doing time trials. So
Amazing.
That is my goal. And then after 2026, it'll be like a refocus of everything Paralympic Games.
Yeah.
So it'll just be focus training on Paralympic Games and just building up to that. And the thing is, you want to have what we call peak fitness at the right time. And you can only do it twice a year, really. So you really have to time that right. So that's going to be what I'm going to be doing for the years coming up to this, is learning to get my fitness right at its peak around like summertime.
Oh my gosh.
Which-
that sounds hard.
It is so hard.
Yeah, because it's all, I mean, you're relying on so many factors that you probably that you can't even control in some cases.
Health,
getting sick.
getting sick,
having kids in school.
how busy you are, stuff like that. And that's why it's so important to have a good support system.
And we didn't talk about this a lot, but I know off the mic we did a little bit. You have a son.
I do, yes.
And what is his name?
His name is Jaden.
Jaden, and he's 11.
He's 11, yes.
And it's just one child right now?
Just one, yeah.
Yeah. And, he's a big part of your life. And so you also have to be a dad somewhere in there.
Oh, yeah, 100%, yes.
You have to be like this amazing athlete, the country is looking for you to make sure that you're an Olympian, but also I gotta be a dad and a family guy and all the things.
And no matter how bad I want to be a Paralympian, the family comes first.
That's beautiful.
Family comes first. Yeah. I love my son. He's just like me.
Yeah.
And in some ways, and then just like his mom in other ways. But he's one of my best friends. He's a lot of energy. We have this. it's a good and bad thing because he's got a lot of me in him. So he's very witty with his comebacks, which I am too. And we like to rag on each other. And so I have a great time with him.
Yeah.
And that's most important. Like my wife, my son, my family, that really comes first. But I'm blessed to have my wife kind of let me like have a 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
1A is family, 1B is my cycling and my training. So
but it means a lot to you too. And I'm sure she sees that. She sees, this is the other part of you that made you feel whole again. That made you feel like, you know what, I have a great purpose. And it factors into all these things, all the good you do in our community, all the paying it forward that you're doing as well. Yeah. So that's a beautiful thing. It's good to have a good wife.
She's my biggest cheerleader. When I don't do well or do what I wanted to do, she is like more down than I am. Aww. She really is. She's like, she feels bad because she sees all the training I do, and I try to tell her like, don't worry about it. And I try to teach my son that you can't win them all. Yeah. He's 11, so he's still dealing. He's trying to deal with like winning and losing. In certain things, like when it doesn't go his way. So I try to tell him like my cycling doesn't all. I can't win everyone. So you got to stay positive and learn from your mistakes or learn from your losses so that so the wins can be better. Yeah. So you can be better going forward. But my family's my biggest cheerleader. And if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I'd be.
Well, I feel like I already have some great takeaways from what you and I have talked about. But before I let you go, and I feel like I want to talk to you again in like another year and see where you're at. And like another year, I'd be like, okay, how's it going?
It would be fun. Yeah,
we got to do that because I want to know and I want to be able to root for you. And when is that one? Okay, Alabama. Like we're gonna watch now. So before we go, I want to ask you, what are 3 key takeaways that you feel like our listeners should hold with them after listening to this conversation today about whatever, about being yourself, about overcoming an obstacle, or about being an athlete?
I would say one of the biggest takeaways I like to give to everyone is like if you're going through hardship or depression or going through a difficult time in your life, to remember that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I am kind of somebody that is more like hard truth that motivates me more than like I want this like rah-rah speech. Yeah. So for me, like, I was very depressed when I was injured, and thank God for my dad, he told me, and I tell people this all the time, like it's brutal honesty, but it is the truth. The sun is gonna rise and set with or without you. Yeah. So like, do your best to just make every day a good day. Yeah. There's so much worse in the world maybe than what you're dealing with at that time. I like to tell people there is worse than me being in a chair. I see them all the time in hospitals, and there's people that have it much worse than me. So be grateful for the things you have, and every day is a blessing. So that's probably the major takeaway. Yeah, I like that. The second takeaway would be, when you see people with disabilities out in public, they're just like you. They are normal people. I appreciate the help that I am offered sometimes. I'm at a gas station filling up my car, and they ask if I need help with my chair, that's nice. Like, I appreciate it. But for the most part, people with disabilities are just as independent as you. So when you see someone with a disability, like, just kind of look at them as like a normal person, instead of like someone with a disability. And I would say the last takeaway for me is, for me, like, my faith is really important. So like, staying close to my faith and kind of spreading faith and stuff like that, and just being a devout Christian is probably like a huge takeaway, you know, for me at least.
For
it's
you.
like
Yeah, of
for
course.
everyone, like for all my fellow Christians out there and stuff. And like, I just think, you know, the man up above and having faith is very important, especially in our world today where there's a lot of turmoil and a lot of stuff you see, and you
it's
know,
hard.
Yeah,
It's a hard world.
It's a very hard world, and so he keeps me
grounded and focused.
Focused,
And
yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. I am so grateful that I got to speak with you, Owen. Thank you so much for being on the Covering Your Health podcast. I'm definitely going to be following up.
Yeah, please do.
I want to know everything now.
Yeah, for anyone who wants to follow my journey.
Yes, how can we?
You can go to teenpossibilities.org.
Okay.
And I do monthly blogs there, and it will also talk about any events I have coming up or stuff like that. Social medias, I'm at Owen Daniels. You can kind of, it's a public social media, so you'll know when you see a guy laying down on a hand cycle, it's me. So you can follow me there and just kind of like go along with the journey if you like want to keep in touch or see what I'm doing or see how things are going in the next couple years. And I'm hoping to do some more work with IEHP.
Yeah.
I would really like to bring them in as like a personal sponsor with me in my journey for the next 4 years. So we'll see how that works.
You're in a good spot to ask for that right now.
yeah, I'm trying to.
This is their podcast.
Yes. So I'm hoping like in the future, like I've been a patient of IEHP's on their insurance for 12 years.
Yeah.
They're one of the best insurances out here in the Inland Empire. They do everything for me.
And I know he means this because we talked about this off the mic as well.
Yes.
He's like, they're the best.
No, they are.
And it's true.
Yes.
And they help so many people.
So many. And they make it easy for you to get equipment or healthcare, any of that stuff. They make it so easy. So yeah, I'm hoping in the future we can continue like a partnership and they can kind of, I can do some community stuff for them and really be a part of like IEHP as well as Teen Possibilities, but kind of bring them in as well for my journey because, like I said, it's a very expensive sport. And
I bet.
The more help and community I can get, the better it is for me going forward.
That is so cool. Oh, well, I'm going to make some calls there too.
Yeah.
I don't have much of a say.
I know, right?
I'll do my best. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pure joy. We're going to watch you. We're going to see you train. We're going to cheer you for you and your family and all of the things that you're involved with. So again, thank you for joining me.
Thank you,
I
Evelyn.
think everyone's going to
I
enjoy this.
appreciate you very much. Thank you.